And I have with us here Chad Hilkemeyer. He is one of the chief architects and developers of the Super Agent Tools platform. And this is really one of the most powerful tools on the market today. There's really nothing like it as far as what's available to independent agents today. You got a 5 somewhere here. And with that, I will turn it over to Chad if I haven't put him to sleep already, and he will get into some details on how the Super Agent Tools platform works. And this is a platform that is available to SilverSide agents. You need to contract through us. There is no regular fee for this. All we ask is that you put your business through us, and you will be able to use the Super Agent Tools platform. So with that, Chad, are you available?
I am here, and I'm still awake, so that's all good. So we're good?
Yep.
All right, excellent. Hey, thanks, Rick, for inviting me here to speak a little bit today about Super Agent Tools, something that we're very passionate about, spent the last better part of 6 or 7 years developing, and thankful that we're able to turn this over to the agency force and have them use it to really further their business. What I'm going to do here today is spend some time with you going through the Super Agent Tools platform. And before I do that, though, and after I'm done here, I'll also show you how to get into the system. But before I get into it, I want you all to be aware that we are actually currently, and it's kind of weird for me to be in this version of the system as you see on the screen, because currently we are in development, beta testing development of a new version of the system, which we're very excited about, and we hope to have that out to the agents shortly. It will have a lot more ability for agents to use it. We actually had to, I'm not the software guy, but we did have to change the underlying language of the entire system, because when we designed the system, we had no idea that people would be walking around with iPads, and we would have to be aware of flash files and so forth. And with the advent of some of the new technology, we did have to change the language that we were using so that it's a little bit more friendly. The good thing is that not only will we have a new system that will be a lot more user-friendly for those folks on iPads and so forth, but also it's going to have the ability for agents to use it as a consumer tracking, customer tracking piece as well. So as I get into this, I'll explain that a little bit more. But here we are. I am signed in as an actual agent. I've changed the name of the agent to Mr. Super Agent, but this is an actual agent that is in the system. And as I move through this, you'll notice that Super Agent Tools has tabs across the top here and then sub-tabs underneath, and actually some others below that at times, depending on the screen that we're on. And as you're navigating through the system, you need to be aware of that. I'm on my dash, and what I do every day is as I sign into my computer, I get onto my home page and I look at the news of the day. Simply powered by Google here, we've put some keywords into the system, and you can click on next here and quickly move through the different stories of the day. Usually there's only about a dozen in any given day. We've narrowed the search down quite a bit. I'll look for companies that I work with, companies that I may compete against, information on the industry so that I can keep up on what's going on, and you can do that simply by clicking the next button here. Something over to the right-hand side, just to reiterate what Rick was just talking about, we do track the S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ here on the home screen, and the S&P 500 showing here. This is the 10-year view of the S&P 500. Here's the 5-day view, so you can switch that around. And again, this is just powered by WikiInvest there. You got the NASDAQ there. And then down below, there's some hot product features. I'll get into this in a little bit. But one thing I did want to mention is, depending on the screen resolution that you're using, you will need to find yourself scrolling up and down, because there's quite a bit of information, and everybody that's online usually pretty familiar with that. Moving over to the Products tab, great tab here, is going to show me the production for this agent over the last 12 months. So in the last 12 months, this agent has written $14.4 million of premium, lifetime $133 million of production. The personal production overview, this is something that is going to get us into a little bit more graphical representation. So I've got just a month here, but let's see what that looks like. So I've got 97 policies during this period of time. It looks like about 2 months, $2.9 million of premium, and we've got a breakdown of where all that premium has gone. So American Equity got a big slice over the last couple months. Aviva, Americo, National Western, and Aviva. If I move this period out a little bit, just to see what the pie looks like at about a year, we've got $15 million of production. American Equity slice is a little bit smaller. Americo and Aviva get a little bit bigger. Just 387 policies written in that 1 year period, and we can see a trend line of this agent. And if I was to move this, and because this agent has been in a situation where the production through Super Agent Tools has been tracked for so long, if I move this way back to 09 and do another search, you'll see that the trend line is going to get a little bit, or the pie is going to get a little bit different. The neat thing about this agent is it doesn't look like he takes a lot of time off. Sometimes we'll see agents with big highs and lows in their production. The worst month since 09 was October of 09 of just over $500,000 of production. So he's not taking a lot of time off. The other feature of this production tab is that we can look up a particular product. So if I was to get a call from Mr. Jones as Mr. Super Agent, I could just simply type in Mr. Jones here. If I knew a policy number, I could do that. If I knew the carrier that it was written under, I could search by that as well. But as I do that and click search, I'm going to see all of the policies that this agent ever wrote for anybody with the last name of Jones. That will get you one step closer to getting to your file, finding the file, and having a conversation with the client. The system, the production that is written with SilverSide all gets into this system and is all tracked. So anything that is written in the hierarchy is tracked by the system and then available for you to search just as quickly as I've done this. Now, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to end up getting some policy numbers and information that I don't want to have in the presentation, but it's as simple as that. Moving over to the contracting tab, another part of the system that I'm not going to click on. This is, if I was to click here, this is going to show all of the contracts that the agent has tracked by the Super Agent Tools platform, as well as their agent number, effective date, cancellation date, if that's applicable. So if you ever forget your agent number for a particular company, that's all inside the system. I'm going to skip this contacts tab. That's for folks that have a hierarchy. Rick has access to this contacts tab so that he can see all the production in his downline, if you will. And in fact, there may be situations where you as an agent have an agent in your downline. If that is the case and it is a hierarchy that's built inside of the system, you'll be able to track that as well. Moving over to the products tab, and this one is the one that usually takes a little bit of time to load up because it's chocked full of information. This is where most of our agents are spending a majority of their time. We know where everybody spends their time inside of Super Agent Tools because the software guys have every click tracked, basically, so they know where everybody's been, how long they've been there, and so forth. And that's a tool that we are able to use to develop the system to a point where we know that it's of use to our agents. If I was to start here, I'm going to skip the search functions and go to the browse feature just to note that this system is currently tracking 544 different products inside of the system. And before moving forward, I do want to point out this big, giant red box with capital letters and red letters. And basically what this is saying is that it is our best effort to get everything in this system 100% accurate all the time. As you can imagine, and as you all know, the world that we live in as far as annuities are concerned is ever-changing, and there are changes that occur that unfortunately we don't get prompt notice of from our carriers, because that's how we're relying on the information to get to us, or we have a human error, which is possible. So what we want to do is make sure that as you're using this system, that you always go back to the insurance company to confirm the information that's in here. And that really isn't because we think that we're making a lot of mistakes. More often than not, what we find is an agent will download, print out, and keep a product sheet, which I'll show you here in a minute, for a length of time that includes, it may include commissions or rates or caps or fees or whatever the case is. And as you know, those change pretty rapidly. So we wouldn't want you to use something that you've printed out, into the future. And I think that that's pretty understandable. As I said, there's 544 products that are being tracked in the system, and these are the companies that are represented inside the system. Now, as an agent with SilverSide, you are only going to see the companies that you are contracted with. So this agent is actually contracted with all of these different companies, if you can imagine. But over the years, $133 million of production. Companies come and go. There are specific circumstances where you may need one company, and that's why there's such a large list here. If I was to use the search function, remember this 544 figure here. If I was to go to the basic search function and do something real simple, let's look at qualified money for somebody with an issue age of 75. Let's go over to the crediting. Let's put a 10% bonus in. And let's say that we're in the great state of Arizona. We always want to pick the state that we're in and click search. The system is going to show us that 544 figure is now down to 10 products that fit the specific criteria that I just entered. Now what I can do is either click these specific products, or I can simply open one of them up, which I'll do right now. And this is what we call in Super Agent Tools a product sheet. Basically, what we've done is we've taken as much information as we can get from the companies that will fit on one page and crammed it all on there. This is the disclosure, oftentimes the specimen policy, the rate sheets, the state approvals, the fact sheets, the agent guides, all that stuff is all boiled down into one simple sheet for you to use as a reference. So if I wanted to know what the premium bonus was of this product, it's always going to show in the upper left-hand corner. The name and the name of the company and the rating is always going to be listed at the top. We've got commissions showing here. These are going to be street-level commissions. We've got issue ages, the caps and fees and participation rates of the different strategies. The riders are listed here, the surrender charge period, the chargeback provisions, and then the state approvals, which Arizona was one that we picked. Each one of the product sheets that we choose, if I was to go back to basic search and look at another one, they're all going to appear exactly the same in the exact same format, because that's the way the computer generates it. So once you are familiar with the layout, you can go, okay, I wonder what the surrender charge period is. It's right there. It's always towards the bottom. And this is Oxford, a company that Rick was just mentioning. So back to basic search, we can change that criteria very simply, or we can refresh that, basically clean the slate and then start. If we wanted to look at a particular company, we could do that. And now I'm looking at all of the Americo products from A to Z. Now here's the deal here. A lot of times a company will have a product that is specific to that state. For example, a rider isn't approved in a particular state, so it has a variation, if you will, of that product. So you'll notice that California, Florida, Indiana, and Texas have something unusual about the future provider bonus product that makes it a little bit different than what we would call the base product, this one right here. So as you get into Americo, you're always going to know the state that your client's in. So if we were to do that, click Missouri, then we would see that. Now if I was to go back and click state that we knew had some variations and do a search then, what you're going to see is now we've got Americo products, well, actually in the state of Missouri and California, but now we've got those in California as well. So a very, very powerful tool. The advanced search function is even more powerful still. It gives you the ability to search each one of the different sections of that product sheet, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, greater than, equal, whatever. Basically what we did is we let the software guys off their leash a little bit too long. We don't use this advanced search function very often. I don't anyway. I don't believe our agents do either. However, I always tell the story that I did have an agent on the line. He was in a state that he doesn't normally do business in, although he was contracted in the state. He called me up. He said, I'm with a client right now. It's a very unusual circumstance. Here's what it is. He gave me the details of it. And on the surface, I really thought that we didn't have anything that we could offer. The parameters were just too unusual. My memory banks weren't working very well. And so I said, well, let me get into the system and see if there's anything that we can find. I actually did use the advanced search function here because there was some parameters that fit that a little bit better. And lo and behold, we did find one specific product out of those 544 products that suited that exact client's needs to a T. The nice thing was it was a case of about $300,000 that I don't think we would have gotten without the involvement of Super Agent Tools. The agent didn't know about the product because he wasn't contracted with the company. We got him contracted, or we got the information to him, and that conversation actually led to a $300,000+ sale. I think the weird thing was the client was really old, but I don't remember the details. But anyway, it was a very nice use of the system, and definitely shows the ability for it to help you out in the field. Moving over just to show you all the different features here, the browse function. If you know the product that you want to look at, well, I want to look at the Americo Future Provider. It's as quick as that to get to the product, so you don't have to really use the search function if you don't want to. The income riders, this is actually a part of the system that is being revamped entirely. We're going to have different search functions for the different types of rider, be it terminal illness, nursing home waiver, income riders themselves. So there's going to be a lot of more search capabilities. This part of the system is actually getting a full overhaul, and something that we're very much looking forward to. Moving over to the carriers tab, just a couple things in here, but very powerful tools. One is the Vital Signs Carrier Analysis. This is a link to a service that Super Agent Tools has got access to. Basically what it is it is a way for you to take a quick look at a company that you may have questions about. I use the profile quite a bit. If I click profile here and use next, what it's going to give me is a list of every insurance company in the country. The last one I looked at was North American, but basically what you do is you click a company from the right and move it over to, from the left and move it over to the right. And if you don't want it there, you just move it back. If you want to look at North American, we've got it onto the right here, so these are the selected companies. Click next. And now what this is going to do is going to give me a view. Oops, I've got something else clicked here. Let me back up. I'm going to go back and start over here. It looks like I got the top 50 button clicked. I just want to look at the profile here. And we've got North American again, so we're going to view that report as a PDF. And what that's going to do is going to give us more information than life insurance agents need to know about the financials of a particular company. This is really neat. It gives us a one-page snapshot of the company, their surplus ratios and so forth. But I think what's really neat about this tool is that if I go back and I've got a company that maybe the client is asking about, I can go down. I'm just going to pick one here that I know is a somewhat similar company. Let's go. I guess it doesn't matter. We'll just click one here and view that report. Now what it's going to do is it's going to show those companies next to each other. Well, we picked a company that's a mutual, it's C-rated, doesn't have a lot of assets here, but as you can see, we've got the comparison of the two companies, and sometimes this comparison here is as dramatic as it is here, where we can go to a client and say, well, we're showing you a $10 billion company compared to a $200 million company. You know, which one do we want to be talking about as far as safety and security is concerned? And one thing I want to mention here as I'm navigating through Super Agent Tools, you've noticed that, or maybe didn't, but I am using the back arrow here to get back to my original screen of this vital signs. In Super Agent Tools, usually that is not a good idea. As I'm in Super Agent Tools itself, I want to use the tabs moving in and out, because if I was to click the back arrow here, that's going to tell the system I want to log out, get me out of here, and now you're back to signing back in. So unless you're in a place that is opened a new tab, you'll always want to use the tabs to navigate through the system. The AM Best, by the way, this is a very, very powerful tool. Use it all the time. Analysis is another really neat feature, is that we can get in here, and let's get rid of this company that I don't know anything about, and view this report. Now we're going to get a little bit different view of it. Now this is not one page, it's 4 pages long, gives us even more information about the company. This is, it gets ridiculous, the amount of information that you have available, and something that I think is powerful for you to use out in the field. If I go over to the AM Best ratings, that's just simply getting you to the AM Best website so you can look up ratings for a particular company. The Quick Info tab, this tab knows the carriers that you are contracted with and will give you the address, phone number, website for those different companies. As you can see, this agent's got a lot of them, and it'll give you some information so you don't have to open up your Rolodex. You can just be inside of Super Agent Tools and know what the 800 number is for Allianz, for example. Moving over to the Annuity tab, this is probably the tab that contains the most information, and where I'll spend a majority of our time here today, and that is the Annuity tab, and it starts with calculations and illustrations. Now, almost everything that we're going to show you here today, you'll have access to. Starting at the top, calculations and illustrations tab, down below you see there are different illustrations that were built and embedded into Super Agent Tools. One that I use, believe it or not, quite often is how long will my money last? It's real simple. I've got $100,000. I'm going to earn 3% on my money. I need $500 a month. How long will my money last? Well, that'll last 23 years at 3% before you end up with a zero balance. Now, that may be great if you're 83, may not be so good if you're 60. So just a very, very simple, quick tool that you can use as you're discussing with your clients what plans they may have. Annuity Advantage, a way for you to dynamically show based on a different tax rate, bonuses, and so forth, what the effective yield of a first-year bonus will have, an average effective yield. If I want to change this to 2, for example, and make it 2 over a period of, let's say, 10 years, we know that a 2% interest rate with an 8% first-year bonus is going to give us a first-year effective rate of 10.16. The average over that period of time of 10 years is going to be 2.79. But at a 33% tax bracket, you're going to need a 4.16% yield just to keep up. Try to find that in the industry right now. Moving back to, and I'm going to shut some of this down just so I don't get clogged up a little bit. Not only do we have just simple illustrations like that, but also a Roth conversion calculator gets a little bit more complex, but you don't have to worry about that because each one of these illustration tools comes with its own instructions, a click-by-click approach to how to use that illustration. Not only how to click in a box and type in a number, but how you might use that illustration to present to the client. So don't overlook these instructions here. noted. And basically what that is a very short narrated presentation, click through of that particular calculator. Down below, depending on the companies that you're contracted with, you'll have access to company-specific software and illustration tools as well. So if you're contracted with American Equity, for example, American Equity knows about Super Agent tools and says, you know what, if they are in the system, we know that they're contracted. Therefore, when they click here, they're going to bypass the sign-in and get right into the American Equity website where you can now run a lifetime income benefit rider calculator right from their system. Very cool. We have the ability to not only do that, but if I move over to the forms area, I can now get into the forms section at American Equity, as well as several other companies give us the ability to bypass their sign-in. And then some generic forms here, and I think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about a couple of these, because it is becoming a big issue for us. I know that probably every one of you read the story about the gentleman that is facing jail time for selling an indexed annuity. Don't know if anything, it sounded like he had a really, really bad attorney, but I don't know that there's anything that could have been done in that particular case. But what we want to do is we want to make sure everybody involved in the process of the sale of the annuity knows who you are not, knows how you're compensated, and how the relationship is going to work. And so what we developed in cooperation with a couple of different suitability officers from our carriers is an agent disclosure form. And we want each of our agents to use this. Basically what it's saying is, this is how I'm going to work with you. If there's a source of funds issue, you're going to consult with your broker-dealer, get the money so that you can take advantage of a recommendation that I have made. The fees, how I'm paid, if you're paid on fees or not, who you are and who you are not. Like I said, I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to give you legal advice. I'm not going to give you tax advice. I'm not going to give you an investment advice, and I'm going to tell you who you need to talk to get that information. And in fact, if you are a registered investment advisor or if you're a registered rep, we could change that language, and please get in touch with Rick. He'd be more than happy to pass along a request that we get you the editable version of this, if you will, so that you can use it for your purposes. You sign it, the customer signs it. I'd like to see a witness on there as well, a son, son-in-law, brother, brother-in-law, whoever it is, so that we all are on the same page as far as the sale is concerned. I think that's really important. We've got a client data form, a suitability worksheet. This is a fact finder. It's 8 pages long. I don't think you're going to find a more comprehensive question sheet out there. This is going to give you everything that you need to do, everything that you need to make a suitable recommendation to your client. Some 401k companies that we know are available to move money from. New illustration requests, these are things that you can send in. The Roth IRA Blue Book, these are literature that you have available to you inside of Super Agent Tools that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you to train yourself. And speaking of training, moving over to the training tab, what we have here is basically we get a new agent on board. We say go into Super Agent Tools, go to the agent training section, start at the top and move down. These are basically starting from ground zero, moving to a little bit more complex topics as you move forward. They build upon each other, if you will. Each of these is a narrated PowerPoint presentation ranging anywhere between 25 probably and 50 minutes long. You can start, stop, rewind, whatever you want inside of these. And something that, like I said, this is hours and hours and hours of training. And most of this is not designed by the folks at Super Agent Tools. It's designed by agents sharing with us what is working for them, the words that they use in front of their clients, and they've asked us to put a presentation together, and we then, with their permission, obviously, share those topics with our agents. Again, if you are contracted with these particular companies, you'll have the ability to get into look at specific training modules at different carriers. the Aviva Brain Shark, for example, I think is 65 different training modules on their different products. So now this is not your approved product training that you have to do with the companies in order to sell the product, depending on the company that you're in. These are just generic, how does the product work kind of deal. The consumer presentation tab is basically the agent training tab boiled down to just some consumer language. So how do I explain surrender charges to a consumer? How do I explain an indexed annuity to a consumer? A little bit different than Super Agent Tools training you as an agent. You have the ability in here to download these presentations as a PowerPoint to your own computer and use them as a narrated, well, you're going to narrate it, but as an electronic flip chart. But you can use this section of Super Agent Tools to train yourself on the words that you'll be using. As you download this PowerPoint slide, obviously you can print that up if you'd like. If there's certain pages of the PowerPoint that you'd like, you could print those up and keep them with you. Some folks have even printed up the entire presentation and used it as a old school flip chart where you're actually using a 3-ring binder, if you will. Moving over to the seminars, depending on how you're getting in front of clients, this is a way for you to really enhance what you're doing. Global Economic Workshop, a Retirement Success Workshop, and a Roth Conversion Workshop. Each one of these is basically a seminar in a box, giving you from beginning to end exactly what to say on each slide, as well as all of the peripheral information that you will need to be successful in the seminar marketing arena. And then, by the way, view is just going to show us if we were looking at a particular presentation, which we aren't at this point. So that one will remain blank. So consumer presentations, and then moving over to the live tab, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because it's basically the same thing as the annuity tab, only for life. So we've got agent training, we've got consumer presentations, a quick quote search engine here where we can go through and find illustrations or for a specific circumstance, a California resident, 47-year-old male, non-smoker, preferred health. We're looking for a term policy here. Look at all the companies that are available inside of there. And moving back to Super Agent Tools, illustration software where you can download that. Forms Builder, after I've seen the quote, after I've got the illustration, now I need the forms to write the business. And then if you're doing any field underwriting, Pyramid services that we know our agents are using, and then to research any conditions that the client may be telling you about. I'm sure you're all familiar with WebMD, and the Mayo Clinic also has a very good site as well. Looking at the last tab, leads and more, basically what this is, the first tab, marketing links, companies that we know, again, that our agents have used with success. They're only on this list because of that. There is no other reason that they're here other than agents have reported having success with these companies, filling their seminar, sending out a direct mail piece, whatever the case may be. And then newsletters, if you're a drip marketing type of person, there's some newsletter and drip marketing for you as well. Don't overlook this, though. The Smarsh SuperAgentTools.com offer is if you use the promo code SuperAgent, you're going to get a discount on a customized website specifically designed for you. You all know how important it is to have a positive web presence, and probably all of you have something to that effect. Smarsh gives you the ability to basically build a website that's very professional, that is specifically suited to you, to your area, to your designations, to your education, and so on and so forth. If you're looking for E&O insurance, a couple sources for that. CE credits, some sources for that. Industry links, organizations that we would suggest you take a look at, specifically the National Association of Fixed Annuities, NAFA. And why is NAFA not on here? There it is. Was very instrumental in the fight of SEC 151A, great organization to be a part of, and they've got some pretty good E&O coverage as well. and then a glossary of terms. If you're the kind of guy that I am where somebody says something and you just kind of smile and walk away because you don't want to get in that conversation because you don't know what in the world they're talking about, go look it up in Super Agent Tools. Every insurance term that you can think of is found, and this is an AM Best site, so you can look up what they were talking about and you won't get tripped up next time. So just a little glossary of terms for you. So that's Super Agent Tools in about a half an hour. I could spend an hour and a half going through or more going through each one of these tabs in a little bit more detail. But I think you get a flavor for the power of the system. And basically what the system was designed for is to make you, the agent out in the field, as efficient with your time as possible. You don't want to spend your time on the phone with 4 or 5 different insurance companies or with your marketer trying to track down this elusive product that's going to fit the specific needs of your client. Use this system to narrow it down and then start that process of getting all your ducks in a row. We feel that it's beneficial not only for, well, in fact, not only do we feel, we know because we're tracking not only the users of the system, but remember, we're tracking the production of the users of the system. And it is categorically true that the users of Super Agent Tools tend to be the top producers. And the top producers tend to be the biggest users of Super Agent Tools. We had a concern when we originally built the system that it would be for those agents that were looking to educate themselves, and as they graduated into super agent land where you're writing $10 million of premium a year, maybe Super Agent Tools wouldn't be of as much use. I'm here to tell you right now that Mr. Super Agent that we're looking at here today, either he or his staff is looking into Super Agent Tools on almost a daily basis, using the system to find production that was written, to look for that product that's going to fit the needs of their client, or just to check rates or caps or fees or whatever. So if that $13 million a year guy needs to use it, I think that we can say that most agents can find some use for the system. Now, I'm going to log out of the system real quick just to show you how to log in and to give you a little bit more information on how to review the system. So I'm going to, before I do this, I want to mention the edit profile. If you're new to the system and you're contracted with SilverSide, you're going to get a password assigned to you. It's going to be a random alphanumeric number that you're not going to be able to remember. When you get that, the first thing you'll do is access Super Agent Tools and then go to Edit Profile and change that password in this section here to something that you'll be able to remember, like your dog's name or your wife's name or whatever it is that you use for all your passwords. But if I log out of the system right now, which I will be doing here, get out of here, what you're going to see is that you have the ability to not only sign in with your email that you have on record with SilverSide, but also your password. If you don't have a password, then you're going to click Forgot Password. It's going to email you a password. Again, if you're contracted with SilverSide, that's the key, is you have to be contracted with SilverSide in order to get access to Super Agent Tools. If you would like to see a much more refined, scripted version of what you've just heard, you can always go to superagenttools.com and click Watch the Demo. And what that's going to do is going to give you basically what we just did, a click-by-click view of Super Agent Tools. Unfortunately, we have not updated that demonstration page recently, and the reason that we haven't is because we've got this new version in the works. So you will notice that if you go to that demo, there will be some tabs that are omitted. They were new and just didn't ever get a demonstration. So we will have a demo, obviously, of the new system when it is up and ready, and we are hopeful that will be any day now. Honestly, we are just as if you've gone through this process before, beta testing, daily we are finding little bugs and having the software folks fix it and making sure that everything is locked down solid so that when we do send it, turn it back over to the agents, that it'll be smooth running for them. So, Rick, that is my Super Agent Tools presentation. I know that there may be some questions, and if you'd like me to take those, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, Chad, a lot of the questions we had, I think you covered as far as how do I get access to the system. You simply need to get contracted with SilverSide, and we can get you access so you can log in whenever you like. You have the new version, and basically the new version is going to be substantially what we've seen. It's going to be iPad friendly. It's going to have more ability to store contact and client information, and what else along those lines. You're going to be able to do more for storing what proposals and what illustrations you have out, right, Chad?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do here. Is you have not only the ability to remember, the system tracks all of your presentation, or I'm sorry, all of your all the production that you've done, but what it's always also going to be able to do is match your production to your specific client. So what it's going to end up being is a client database tool for agents to use. So you may be using, you may be using a card catalog or a filing cabinet or whatever system that you're using to track your specific clients. That is all going to be embedded into Super Agent Tools. Now, the way that we've done that is we've gone to folks like Mr. Super Agent that we were looking at, and a couple of other agents that we know are highly efficient agents to the point where they are generating millions of dollars of production and spending very little as far as time and marketing dollars because of their efficiencies. We've modeled them, we've interviewed them extensively, and we're going to embed their practices into the system. So annual reviews, which is a very simple example, you'll be able to set those, and they will pop up inside the system and tell you, hey, remember next week you've got to set up an appointment for an annual review with Mr. Jones. He has this business with you, or he is a prospect that has this or whatever. You're going to be able to track all of those contacts that you've made over the years inside of the system, and it will only be as useful, obviously, as you make it.
Mm-hmm.
But believe me, like I said before, I think we let the IT guys off the leash a little bit long on this one too, because it is going to be the most powerful client database program that you can use, because it is specifically designed for life insurance and annuity producers, period. It doesn't have to be modified in any way for your particular business model. It is specifically designed for you, a life insurance and annuity agent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really powerful. And like we were saying, in this day and age, we have products coming and going. We have S&Ps swinging up, down, all around. We have the Hartford is getting out of the business. We have Guggenheim is getting into the business. It's almost a daily battle to keep track of what's out there and how does it work, and how do I use that in my practice. So that's what.
Yeah, and back just a few years ago, all of this was done, basically through memory and experience, and it's almost impossible to keep up in today's marketplace with all the changes that are occurring daily. As you know, Rick, we're getting notifications from companies that they're dropping products in particular states because of some new regulation that came down from the State Department of Insurance. They're refiling those and then reintroducing them and so forth. So there's a lot of movement in the industry, and a tool like this is going to get you to a point where you can spend as much time as possible doing the thing that makes you money, and that is sitting in front of clients. rather than searching around, doing paperwork, trying to find the form. This system attempts to make you as efficient as possible so that you can spend that time with your clients. And, obviously a lot of our agents, in fact, next week I've got a large agency here in Arizona that's sending their administrative staff to the office, and we're going to sit down and talk to them about how they can use Super Agent Tools and assist their employer, basically the agent. So it's not just the agent. It can oftentimes be the assistants that are using the system as well.
Okay. Hey, that's great information, Chad. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us today. And I can tell you did a great presentation because it looks like almost every attendee has stuck on for the bulk of the presentation here. So you did better than I do sometimes. But thank you so much for your time today. And I'd like to thank everybody out there for attending. And feel free to give us a call here. Call your marketer at SilverSide. The number's right there on the screen. And we can either get you more information about Super Agent Tools or some of the products we talked about, and we can get you up and running. So thanks for spending part of your afternoon with us, and thanks again for being with us, Chad.
Thanks for the invite. Have a good day.